Well, look, it was interesting during the interview there that you both referred to Dwayne by his full title, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, like Paul Thomas Anderson or Daniel Day-Lewis. And what I've started to realise about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is that he has, in his own way, this kind of auteurist stamp that he puts on his work. And after watching a film like Rampage, you kind of think nobody could have pulled this off but Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I came out of the film thinking about Daniel Day-Lewis a lot because Daniel Day-Lewis, obviously wildly acclaimed as, a great actor, one of the best, if not the best of his generation. But I was trying to think, could he convincingly fist bump a giant albino gorilla? I mean, could he? Can you see, Reynolds Woodcock doing with George? No.
It's a great point.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is probably the only actor working in Hollywood today who could pull this off. And it is a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson film through and through. And what Naomi said when she was talking about the relationship between Johnson's character, Davis Okoye, who's this primatologist who becomes embroiled in this crazy scientific disaster, and George the gorilla, she said this relationship is the heart of the movie. Now, Rampage is not Phantom Thread in a zoo, but the chemistry, and it is real chemistry that his character has with this gorilla, really does make the film mean something. And so there's this lovely bit of, friendship, almost like banter between them, because he is, as a primatologist, he can sign and gorillas can understand the sign language.
And the signing has the timing of good dialogue.
Yes, right, exactly. But he is, as an actor, completely invested in that. He is signing to a real gorilla as far as, anyone watching this film is concerned. And it means that when you get to the crashy, bangy, roary stuff, which you do pretty quickly, and then that sustains for basically the entire second and third act of the film, it means something. And if I was to tell you that at the end of this film, I did not have, as a result of this friendship between Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and a giant albino gorilla, I did not have a tear in my eye, I would be lying. Because Rampage did connect with me on that level, as well as having that visceral thrill of seeing great special effects executed well, and also great comic banter between the different characters. Naomi Harris's character is incredibly funny. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, obviously very funny. Jeffrey Dean Morgan as well. Now, I gather his performance in Rampage, he plays this kind of secret agent government guy who is from some shadowy agency that nobody really knows where he's from. I gather this performance does owe quite a lot to his work in the Walking Dead TV series, which I've not seen him in that.
Okay.
As a standalone thing, it's very, very funny. And he is given a lot of corny action movie one-liners, none of which I think are recitable on air, probably.
No,
but just he delivers them in the full knowledge of a guy who knows that he is, this is dumb. This is good dumb screenwriting. This is stuff that people will remember and quote to each other and laugh about on the way out of the cinema. So it's just, the craftsmanship. It's a stupid film. Of course, it's a stupid film. It's about three enormous creatures laying waste to a city, but it's a stupid film done right. And all of the excuses that people make for other stupid films that are not good, Rampage absolutely pulls those off beautifully. Part of me wonders as well how smart you can really be while talking about Rampage, because on one level, all the film wants to do is entertain, because it is consistently very funny all the way through. The action sequences are very, very well done all the way through. The thing with giant monster films is that the monsters always mean something, even I think if the film is trying to make them mean something or not. And that's true right back to King Kong. If you think about Cloverfield, Cloverfield of the recent ones, that's the example that, that film completely bounced out of the September 11th attacks, and it was about a city in meltdown, people not knowing where they stood as this entire civilization felt like it was collapsing around them as a result of some weird incursion from under the surface of the earth that nobody knew was there. So these films always speak to their moment, I think. And with Rampage, there's a really interesting, the two main villains of the piece are this mega rich brother and sister played by Malin Ackerman and Jake Lacey. And whether it was intentional at the writing stage or not, they felt to me there was something a little bit Ivanka and a little bit Donald Jr. about the way in which they dressed and carried themselves.
Possibly.
And the film is, these guys are, they've set up this experiment. I mean, look, the giant monsters, that's not an unfortunate side effect of the experiment. That is the experiment. The experiment's called Project Rampage. The aim was always to breed these killer creatures. And then, for whatever reason, off the top of my head, I can't remember, but that was the aim, and to bring them to Chicago so they could harvest the genetic material. And that's why they all end up tearing the city down. The idea that super rich people would pursue further wealth at the expense of 99.999% of the population without a thought for their well-being is something that speaks to our moment now. I don't know if the film is trying to do it or not, but it's there, and it's there to be picked up on if you want to pick up on it. Also, the September 11th stuff is still kind of loud and clear there. The part where Chicago itself starts being decimated by these creatures obviously borrows massively from news footage of the September 11th attacks, the kind of clouds of ash billowing down the streets and the skyscrapers toppling over. And, you know, there's an argument to say that that is a bad taste move. You know, you're kind of borrowing from this horrendous, unthinkable real-life tragedy in order to make a popcorn entertainment and, you know, to kind of titillate people and excite them. But these kind of films have always done this. And if you look, you know, Dwayne Johnson recently, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, has appeared in San Andreas, the other Brad Payton film, you know, another film like Rampage that could only have been directed by a man called Brad, I think. And then he's also in this film called Skyscraper that's coming out later this summer. All of these films involve him in toppling skyscrapers and wandering around cityscapes strewn with ash and rubble, rescuing people. Now, if you look back at how the 80s action movies worked, you know, particularly Arnold Schwarzenegger, but also actors like Sylvester Stallone, you know, everyone who was kind of working at that time, so many of those films were basically about re-prosecuting the Vietnam War. So that Americans could go to the cinema and they could watch Vietnam being won. And it wasn't always Vietnam. It was things, you know, Rambo was obviously, he was in the jungle fighting normal people. But, you know, you had Schwarzenegger fighting Predator. But he would do it in the jungle in the way that you know, people wish that American GIs had been able to do. Come back victorious from this, you know, incredible battle. And in the same way, I think Dwayne Johnson is doing these kind of roles. He's showing people rescue efforts, relief efforts, where he's looking out for his family. You know, he's rescuing his wife, he's rescuing his daughter, he's rescuing his kids. Family, family, family is always this recurring theme in Dwayne Johnson's films. And he is kind of reworking and replaying this relief rescue effort in his films over and over and over again. And that's why they kind of, there's something more to them than just brainless entertainment, even though the brainlessness is very much there to be enjoyed as well. So as I say, it's a film that works on different levels that you maybe don't expect it to. But, you know, I really enjoyed it as just straightforward entertainment, funny, you know, action-packed, lots going on, and very kind of anything that's going to slow it down is just chopped away. We don't need it, out the window. Let's get on with some more fun. But like all monster movies, it seems to be speaking to our time now. So yes, I was completely sold on Rampage, did not expect that at all. And often when studios have a film like this, they set a review embargo where they say, you know, all the reviews have to be revealed at once. I have to say, the response to this has been very mixed. I expected everyone to fall completely in line with me, but I would urge even skeptics to go and check this out.